Am I the asshole for abandoning my son and refusing to collect him after my ex told me to? I have a 4-year-old son with my ex-husband. We've been in the middle of divorce since our son was 1. My ex has made settling the divorce and deciding custody of our son hell for me, both financially and emotionally. I finally reached my boiling point 2 months ago when I realized just how bad my finances are at the moment and the fact that I would need to stop the divorce and move to an even cheaper but dangerous area to just survive at this point. I don't want my son to have to live there too. So, I decided that the next time my ex was in the country, I would take my son and leave him with his dad since he wants custody so badly. My ex assumed it was just for the day, but when I didn't come to pick him up in the evening and I wasn't home when he tried to drop him off, he started texting and calling me non-stop telling me I needed to come collect our son since he didn't have his nanny there and he was very busy. I ignored him for over a week, until he started threatening to have someone come and find me. We had a conversation where my ex was asking me what type of mother just ups and abandons her child like I had done. He wanted to know where I was and wanted to know when I was going to come back. When I told him I wasn't, he told me he had learned his lesson and I needed to stop punishing our son to make a point. I told him I wouldn't come back, because my ex was right. He had the money to give our son a better life, so he had won. He asked me what he was supposed to tell our son and I told him he should tell him the truth, that his dad liked to bully people with his money and it made me have to go away. He got really angry and told me not to play games and that we would go back to our old financial agreement that we had before I filed for divorce if I would just come back. Am I the asshole? Honestly, no judgment here. I think this is a little above our pay grade. Lots of single mom rage bait happening in the past day or so around here. If this is true, of course, he's clearly an asshole, but you abandoned your child, regardless of the circumstances. If you think he should have custody, go to the court and say so. If you think your ex is bluffing and trying to punish you financially, you still need to involve the court. Walking away like this could permanently damage your relationship with your child, which is a heck of a lot more long-term than your current financial struggles. Do the courts always get it right? Hell no. But what you're doing now ain't it, either. In another episode of, I want to teach an adult a lesson but the only one hurt is the only innocent party. Both are not the asshole. You gave your child to his father. His father. A man who should have been doing more for your child from the get-go. Now it's his turn. Too many men are okay being weekend dads but crumble when they have to do it on their own like so many single mothers. He'll find a way just like you did. Info. And then what happened? Where is your son? What's the situation now? At the end you say he asked you to come back, but from the beginning of the post it sounds like the divorce is still in process. How many of those making a blanket statements of you are the asshole have had first-hand experience in this type of situation? A lot of women end up in poverty because of actions such as OP's ex. These situations are often very muddy. Made worse when the agreement was that the mother would be a stay-at-home mom, often giving up her career. And we all know how the job market treats women, especially when there is a gap in employment. Think how you would handle it if you were at your wit's end. Info. Your husband has been an absolute asshole during this divorce. He dragged this out until he mentally broke you. You know as soon as you gather your child, he'll start his delay tactics up again. You are caught between a rock and a hard place. Now that your husband is caring for your son without a nanny, do you think you can finally get your husband to settle the divorce? I see an awful lot of, quit using your child as a pawn, comments. The father has been doing it for 3 years, and after 3 years, Appa's at a breaking point and fighting fire with fire. Y'all a bunch of damned hypocrites as far as I can see. Don't think Appa handled it the best, but sometimes the high road isn't effective. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for hiring a babysitter to watch my son when my ex had an emergency? My 30M ex-fiancé, 28F, and I have a 3-year-old son together. We broke off our engagement just over a year ago and have a 50-50 custody split. We split time with our son every 2 weeks as my ex moved over an hour away and making the drive every week was too much. Since switching to the 2-week schedule, it has been better for everyone. I just started dating again a few months ago and I have been seeing someone quite regularly for about 6 weeks now. This past weekend we had a date scheduled for Saturday night at a nice restaurant and tickets to go see a show. It was supposed to be our first, nice dress-up date, as our previous times together have been more informal, like coffee, walks in the park, bowling, etc. Early Saturday morning my ex calls me. She's frantic and tells me she needs me to come get our son because she's having a family emergency. Apparently her sister was in a car accident and she's in a hospital a few hours away. My ex wants to go immediately as it seems pretty serious, but she doesn't want to haul our son with. I agree right away and get to my ex's place as soon as I can. When I get home with my son I contact my date and let her know that an emergency came up and I now have my son. I apologize and tell her I probably have to cancel our date. She says she understands, but asks if I would consider hiring a babysitter, and she has a friend who is a nanny and she might be available. She says we can skip dinner and just go to the show, so that my son will be almost asleep by the time I would have to leave. I think that's a pretty good idea, so she says she will reach out to her friend. Her friend was free and agreed to babysit, so I get her contact info and talk over the plan with her. By the time she arrives at my place, my son is already asleep and I have just enough time to meet my date at the show. I put my phone on silent for the show, and when I checked it after the show ended, my ex had called a few times and left a bunch of texts. I excused myself to call her. She immediately flipped out on me for not answering, and it made her think something terrible happened, especially with her mindset with her sister's accident. I told her that our son was at home asleep with a babysitter as I was out on a date. This made her flip out even more, and she told me if she knew I was going to pawn our son off on a babysitter so I could go on a date, she would have never called me to get her. She said this is a huge breach of trust and it makes her seriously question my judgment. I told her our son was fine and tried to ask about her sister, but she told me not to try and change the subject. She called me an asshole and told me she would be coming to get our son as soon as she can. The whole thing pretty much ruined my evening. My ex got our son yesterday afternoon and we fought about it. I don't think I did anything wrong, but she sure does. Not the asshole. Adults have lives and sometimes that requires a babysitter to stay home with the kids. Does she expect your son to never ever be without one of you? You are the asshole. Could have kept the mother in the loop. You absolutely should not put your phone on silent when your child is being babysat by a stranger. What if something happened? That seems just really irresponsible. You didn't check it for the whole show? Again, something could have happened while your child was being looked after by a stranger and you wouldn't have known. What is your agreement on babysitters? This should be discussed. Lots of parents would want a trusted person to babysit. A friend of someone you've known for 6 weeks probably doesn't meet that threshold for most parents. Did you vet your GFS friend? I can understand why she was upset if you just left her with someone you don't really know without finding out whether they're a good nanny or not. She's also probably upset because if she knew you were getting a babysitter she could have just found one herself and been by her sister's side sooner. You are the asshole one. You left your small child in your home with a sitter you literally had never met before on the advice of a girl you have dated a whopping 6 weeks. 2. Your child could have woken up to a complete and utter stranger. 3. The most egregious, you turned off your phone. Play it forward. If there were an emergency, child has a stranger caretaking with no way to reach the parent. You are the asshole. I'm generally on OP's side except I am worried about the child waking up and seeing a stranger and no dad and no mom. Unless he routinely has a myriad of babysitters, which it doesn't sound like. Never had a 3-yo in my care. Would that be a thing, waking up and seeing a stranger? You are the asshole, but not for hiring a sitter. When you're a parent, that phone needs to always be on. Especially when your kid is with a sitter. As a fellow parent on top of child psychologist experience, if she wanted her child to stay with a babysitter, she would have gotten a babysitter. Her child needed a dad. You are the asshole. For all the reasons already discussed by reasonable commentators. You are the asshole. Your son should come first, not a date. You left your son with a complete stranger with your only means of contact turned off. Really hope your wife uses this as ammo against you for more custody, because you've shown a complete disregard for your son's safety. Am I the asshole for making my daughter eat salad while my son gets chicken nuggets? I have 2 kids. A 7-year-old son and a 9-year-old daughter. Every other week I take them to activities in a certain mall, and in between we go to a local fast food chain in between. Now I do usually have my kids have a healthy diet, but for those rather rare occasions I let them choose whatever they want. I don't believe going to a fast food place but then restricting their order so they won't enjoy rather unhealthy food makes sense. So the kids' menu comes with many different options and the menu even has pictures of all the food. They go every week so they know. My son chose chicken nuggets and fries as the main, a drink and a cookie for dessert. Just what I would have expected. My daughter picked the chicken Caesar salad. I did not expect that. Asked her if she was sure. Explained it did not come with fries, she loves fries. She insisted. Last time I had the salad and she tried one of the croutons and a piece of chicken and loved them. I did not care too much, and a Caesar salad is great. It's not like just snacking a few salad leaves like a rabbit. There is sauce, cheese, chicken, fried chicken and croutons as extras. Plus she had the ice cream for dessert. Well, the food came, we sat down, and after taking a few bites she started complaining about the food. She saw my son eat his chicken nuggets and dip the fries in sauce. She asked him for one, he let her try the fries and gave her a nugget as he usually can't finish all anyways. Then she decided that instead of the salad she wanted fries now. I said no, she has to eat the salad. Or well, I would not make her eat it, but I won't buy her fries instead. My argument is that she choose it. She is old enough to make that choice and there is nothing wrong with the salad, it looks delicious. I even offered to give her some of my meal, a baguette sandwich, but she wants nuggets and fries now. She started throwing a fit. I ignored it, told her to sit and eat or at least stop screaming now or there would be consequences. Some old lady heard her and I guess she picked up the "it's not fair that he gets nuggies and fries and she has to eat that stupid salad." Well, the lady went off on me. How I am treating my kids unfairly and how I should not body shame my daughter. I told her to get out of my business and shut up, she does not know what she is talking about. Note: my son is extremely slim for his age. He is a very active child and quite tall. He is underweight, but his doctor said it's nothing to worry about as long as he is eating normally. It can be that way for kids his age. My daughter is on the heavier side of average. The doctor is also not much concerned here. Her weight is within what is okay, just on the higher end of that. So it might have seemed like it was because my daughter is not as extremely skinny that she did not get the fried food, which is not what happened. Am I the asshole for making my daughter the salad she chose instead of buying her nuggets and fries like her brother? Not the asshole, and really you should stop listening to random people about how to raise your children. You are teaching your daughter accountability for her choices and understanding that not always there's going to be do-overs in life. Not the asshole. 9 years old is perfectly old enough to learn how to live with your decisions. Especially on such a small scale. It's just one lunch. It's not like she has to eat salad for a week or something. Not giving into the temper tantrum was just good parenting. I thought this was going to go in an entirely other direction. Not the asshole. You offered her multiple times if she really wanted the salad and then offered additional workarounds after she didn't like it. And then you didn't give in to her tantrum. In my eyes, that's top-notch parenting. And yikes to the lady that butted in. You were way nicer than I would have been. Not the asshole. Next time, make sure you put a stop to a stranger getting involved early on. Interrupt them early on. Because your daughter could also learn from, feel affirmed by that other person's bad behavior. Not the asshole. But next time it happens, if she tries to order something odd, remind her. Be sure what you order because we are not having another meltdown like we did 2 weeks ago. She got off fairly lightly this time, but it shouldn't continue. She is old enough to pick a meal and not yell about it. Not the asshole. You weren't making her eat a salad versus nuggets. You were showing her that if she makes a choice, she has to live with consequences of that choice. Not everyone has enough money to just waste a meal because someone wants something different than what they originally chose. Not the asshole. She made her choice. Good for you for making her live with it. It's only one meal. Good luck. Not the asshole. You didn't force her to pick the salad. You didn't even force her to eat the salad. It's an important lesson to learn that choices have consequences. You're fine. The lady didn't know the full picture before she tried to intervene. Am I the asshole for telling a woman with a newborn, a dog can give birth? So there's this woman I work with who gave birth 2 months ago and she's constantly bragging about it. I'm not kidding you when I say she talks about her pregnancy experience and her newborn every single day. The other day she was, once again, talking about how many hours she was in labor and how hard it is being a mom, and I jokingly said, "You know, a dog can give birth too." She didn't find it funny at all and she has given me the cold shoulder for the past couple of days. I kinda feel bad about it, but I just got tired of it. I'm a woman too, if that makes it any better. Am I the asshole? A dog can also use its legs to leave a conversation or situation it doesn't want to be in. Instead of being an ass, you are the asshole. Lol, 2 months after birth and she's already at work? Let me guess. America? That's so irritating. Women should be able to spend their time with their kids. That's how you get this kind of situations. She clearly just misses her child. You are the asshole. I can't imagine having to be back in work 2 months after giving birth. It's a huge life event, so makes sense she is talking about it. Sure, it can be slightly annoying, but you don't need to be rude about it. Yeah. You are the asshole. Postpartum is a thing and you aren't kind. I'm sure it's annoying, but rather than being annoyed with her for clearly missing her child and coming to terms with the hardships of motherhood, be annoyed with your workplace. If you're going off the "a dog can give birth" bullshit, then yeah. And in most states it's illegal to separate a dog from its litter before 8 weeks. Maybe you should be angry that your workplace isn't fairly compensating new parents with paid paternity leave, and that would fix 2 issues. You are the asshole. That's just a rude comment. Her topics of conversation are tiresome and uninteresting, but you're not a hostage to her. Walk away, change the topic, or ignore it while others discuss. I jokingly said, a dog can give birth too. She didn't find it funny at all. Probably because it wasn't funny. More cringe than anything. You are the asshole. Everyone sucks here. Your comment was rude, but your coworker sounds obnoxious. No one wants to hear about that shit all the time. You are the asshole. She's a new mother and that's what parents do. They talk about their babies, especially newborns, and all the new and exciting things they're learning and doing. If you don't like hearing it, program yourself to ignore it. By bringing up the topic that dogs can give birth too, is 1. Comparing her to a dog, and 2. Diminishing her experience.